My friend, this is Kyle Bonnell's Crash Course in Baritone Ukulele. Do It Now series. It's 2 of 4. The other one talks about doing this. It throws a couple other terms out there on what these are. They're called half steps or minor seconds. And it talks about all the different pieces that are on this, like our body. This is our back. This is what happens when we have the body. This is a dreadnought style ukulele. This is the heel. This is the fingerboard. This is the fretboard. This is the neck. This is the nut. This is the headstock. These are the tuning gears. These are the polymer plastic strings, and they used to be made out of intestines. If you dig me and this channel and the baritone uke, and I don't know, dig life, thumbs up, subscribe, put something cool in the comment section, and ask questions. Why don't you? Let's get into it. If you practice this concept a couple times a day, maybe let's say 5 times a day for 5 minutes, you do this all the way up, plucking. Notice how my pluckaroo finger over here lays itself down. I try to stay away from teaching my new students to play with their thumb, and what I've noticed is when they don't play with their thumb doing this, which is acceptable, of course you can play with your thumb, of course you can do that, but the idea is when you play with the first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, dare I say this, fourth finger, it gets so much more stronger, much more able to actually do stuff. In fact, I've played whole sets with just 2 pinkies just to see if I could, and guess what? You can. It's not great, but it is something that you could challenge yourself to. So when doing these spider exercises, maybe you could do them in every different kind of correlation with every different finger. That will make all of your fingers a lot stronger, and when you start working together, both of your hemispheres start actually doing stuff and thinking. You become very ambidextrous. So when we get done with the spider exercises, otherwise told to my students like this, they're usually under 10 years old, love this, I do too. The next one's called a teeter-totter. Pick any chord that you know how to do. On the baritone, you should know how to play a G. It influences the G, it has the B, it has the G and the D, giving us the 3 notes, G, B, D. Of course, we're gonna repeat that G twice. Na, 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 na. So, when playing this chord, a great way to play it is to learn how to play with all of your fingers. Isn't that wonderful? The next chord we're going to play after that, after the G, is called an A minor. Now, this A minor can be played with 3 different ways, actually 4 different ways in this first position. The first one I'll talk about, you put your first finger here on the first fret of the B string, which is the 2nd string. And then you're going to take your finger and play right here and right here. Now, these 3 notes plus the additional high note would give us an A minor. The E here, we've also got our C here, we've got an A here, and an E here. So when playing this, it gives us this chord. Now, if you're a rock star, you could use 1 finger to play that. That's another way to play. I would like for you to do this teeter-tot exercise where you're moving back and forth between just these 2. Now, you can do that with these. You do it that. You do it that. As far as I'm concerned, you can play these chords with any fingers as long as they come out. The less fingers, the better. That means the more fingers you have off of this chord, like this, or even like imaginable if we have like this chord, which is a B minor, it's the 3rd, C major, G major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C. Those are the notes we would play up here if we were playing an ukulele with that bar on the 5th fret. I talk about this in the first video, but here we name it G, then A minor. We have our B minor, C major, D, E minor, F sharp diminished, or a D7. Then it goes back to G. So what this session is going to talk about is basically if we can play our spider exercises and our fingers get stronger, we know the difference between flat notes and pointy notes, and we know all the names of the items on this unit, we are almost ready to rock and roll and learn out what a triad is. A triad is a combination of 3 very specific tones of a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and do. When we play, we have all the tonal notes of G. G for G major, A for A minor, B for B minor, C for C major, D for D major. We've got E for E minor. We've got our next F sharp, and it's our lending tone, and it goes into our G again. So the concept is learning all of our first position chords, getting strong with our fingers, and then being able to name their triads. Here's how we do that. In the key of G major, there is 1 sharp. That sharp is F sharp. So when we play F sharp, we are playing something that is not C major, unto which most people, most teachers, most music, blah, 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 we learn from the key of C. There are no sharps and flats, so it's easier just to say something along the lines of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. When we do this, this allows us to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then alter those to get modus, modes, scales, different concepts that are basically notes within this triad. So the triad, as you can tell from the prefix, has 3 notes. The dyad is the harmony that creates its sonority. Let me repeat that again. Triad, 3 notes. Dyad, 2 notes. There are 2 dinodes in every triad. Therefore, when you play something like this D major, the distance between the D and the F sharp is a major third. The distance between the D and the F is a minor third. Therefore, when we have 4 minor seconds, which is just basically that distance, 1, 2, 3, 4, that gives us the distance of D to F sharp. If we wanted to go a minor third, we would only go 3 minor seconds away. Interesting. So this is basically the foundation of musical theory. All music is based off of chords. Chords are based off of dyads, and dyads are nothing more than thirds stacked upon themselves. It's called tertiary harmony, and that is the foundation of knowing what a G major, G, B, D, A minor, A, C, E, B minor, B, D, F sharp, because F sharp is in the key signature. When we go to C, C, E, G. When we go to D, we have D, F sharp, A. When we go to E minor, there's no F, so we don't need to worry about it. It's E, G, B, my friend, my friend. And then the last chord that we go to, that F sharp diminished, D7ish, we have an F sharp, A, and a C. If you look at it through the eyes of like the major, you're simply having F, A, C, F major, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, F sharp major, flat in the third, flat in the fifth. That's a diminished. 1 flat, 3 flat, 5. So this leads us to the next thing. There are only 4 types of triads in all of music. You have extension nodes on those where you add like a 6th or a 7th or a 9th or an 11th or a 13th. Those are called extension chords. But for just the triads, what we're really searching to do is this. Let's choose the C major and the D major. Here's the C major. What we're going to do is we're going to strum down on the 1 chord, and then we're going to keep this hand functionally going up and down, exhibiting 8th notes. So here's what it looks like in slow-mo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. We're going to play on the 1. Immediately switch the fingers you use to a secondary group of fingerings without letting your rhythm hand falter. If you can't do it, go slower. If you can't do it, go way slower. If you can't do it, go way, way, way slower. Here's what it looks like with this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and switch and switch and switch. If you want to, but down and 2 and 3 and 4 and these are whole notes. What happens when you play half notes? It's on the 1 and the 3, which it forces your fingers to actually go a little faster while the hand remains the same, going up and down. So pretty. When we do quarter notes, we move faster in ipso facto because you're an amazing individual and your brain is awesome because musicians rock. You're not going to be layering over and over. Your brain just does it in one felt swoop. You actually start to form mechanisms of where your fingers go in correlation to themselves, meaning your fingers have a sense of what they're doing together. That's what we're practicing on. Muscle memory. So the whole idea of this is go from one chord to another, back and forth, back and forth. There are 7 chords in a song. So if you did G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, sharp diminished G, go back and forth between G major and A minor, G major, A minor. And if you can't go back between these chords like this, A minor, B minor, A minor, B minor, A minor, B minor, A minor, B minor, These are the things that you want to do over and 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 over. And when you do them over and over and over again, you get good at them. And then you switch to the next key. Instead of playing just in G, you would go G, A, B, C, D. D major has 2 sharps. One of them is F sharp. The next one is going to be C sharp. So when you play these, you would change D major, E minor. Sorry, my brain blanked out. D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, the A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, and then right back to D. That's how you do these chords. So use your teeter-totters to go back and forth between those notes and get functionally good by going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And look how we're just going back and forth with no effort whatsoever between that in a faster gauge. That's what we're looking for. This has been series 2, and what we're looking for is to do it now. Do it now.